name is Oluwole Aboyade. I'm today in our class of creativity and design. You can come in. Are you in this class? So, good afternoon. My name is Oluwole Aboyade. We're in the class of creativity and design here at University, in the class for 400 levels. And today we will be focusing on the entrepreneur. That's the thing we're trying to build. We're trying to build you, the entrepreneur. Last week we talked about the history of creativity and design that allows us to understand the language of creativity and design, and also from the language it allows us to understand how to create using design thinking. And we went into design thinking. Today, I'm just going to quickly go back 4 years. And we're going to go to our whiteboard as I go through some of the things. So please take notes. If you want to take notes, I want you to take notes. Now, we're in the class of creativity and design. Okay? We're in the class of creativity and design. And of course, in the class of creativity and design, today we're also going to continue to build on the entrepreneur using design thinking as it relates to space creation and the meanings of color as it relates to creation. Okay? Now, you will be hearing languages or language that is unique to this class and this university when it comes to creativity and design and the entrepreneur being the entrepreneur. To be the entrepreneur, you have to come up with originality in your creation, in your solution, and also in your language. It will enable you to have what we call the design being the entrepreneur. So in creativity and design, we're going to focus today on space creation and meaning of colors. As it relates to the entrepreneur. Okay? As it relates to the entrepreneur. Now, also you have to remember, there are 5 stages for design thinking. There are 5 stages for design thinking. For design thinking. Number 1, I think we should go to another stage. The first stage is what? Can somebody try? Empathize. And empathize means that you should research the user's need. For you to research the user's need, you must use that to create space. Once you start to understand the user's need, you must start to create space. The space for you to create the solutions to the user's need is as important as the final solution. If you don't create the space at this stage where you start to empathize, you must start to think about the research. As you are researching, your research is not limited to one space. Your research will mean sometimes to move from point A to point B. That is why space creation is very important, because you are the entrepreneur. So when you are in the empathize stage in design thinking, as it relates to the entrepreneur, you are creating space with those stages as well, not just product and services. So for you to create this space, the first thing you need to do is to make sure that your research is not limited to a specific space. For example, you will say, I will go to Google to just do a research on what the meaning of entrepreneur is. No. Google is a good place to start, but that space is not the only space that does what? That does exist. What about the artisans in your community? What about the artisans outside of your community? They also have experiences that is useful to your own originality. So you need to extend your tentacles. You need to extend your ability to look at entrepreneurs, artisans, people in the same field of study, to be able to understand the problem and to be able to design the solution. So your empathizing process will allow you to create. If your research is not limited to a particular space, you will be creating more spaces. And as you are creating more spaces, that space is allowing you to gather more knowledge. And that knowledge is a form of vision. Because we have two types of vision. We have the vision of knowledge. When you have the knowledge of something, what you see is better than somebody who doesn't have the knowledge of it. For example, all the things on your tablet, you have the knowledge of what you put there. I don't have the knowledge. So if I come there, I can't really see what's valuable there. You are the one that knows where the values are. I mean, you are the one that knows which video is for creativity and design, which video is for biology, because you are the one that created that space. The only way I can know what's in that tablet, which is also space, is for me to come to you and learn about the content. If you don't grant me the authority to go into the, will I be able to see it? Yes. So I must not limit it to myself, but it is what I know. It is what's on my phone, on my computer, that will determine my knowledge in the empathize stage. You must space. Your computer is one space in the space of creation. Our computer is another space. Our own is another space. They all carry valuable information. Just like your brain. Your brain is also a space. Your head is also a space that carries information. So if you have the tailor, if you have the clay maker, the potter, if you have the, for example, the marketer, if you have somebody who is into recycling, all those people in their spaces have information that is value to you when you are creating. So you must understand space intelligence. That's the bottom line. Space intelligence means that use the information, the research in space to design your own originality. So don't limit yourself to one space. So the second one is define. That's in the design thinking stage. We have define as the second stage. In this stage will allow you now to say everything I've learned from point A to point B, I now need to create a space. The define stage, you will have to define the space. The space to create. You need to define the space to create. Not just the problem. Defining the problem is a good thing, but you also need to define the space you are going to do the creation. Because it's not every space that is friendly to creation. You can't go into a church service and hold your laptop and you say you want to do Photoshop, you want to use Photoshop in a church service to create a brand for a customer. If you are doing that and somebody sees you while the preacher is preaching, they will say, excuse me, you need to listen to the preacher, right? Is that church, inside that church, is it a space for you to create? No. You can't now go to the beach. When you go to the beach with your smartphone and on the beach, you are now creating. Can you create on the beach? Yes, you can create on the beach. But what you can create on the beach, you cannot, as about even your dressing in church, it's not the same dressing on the beach. So that means space, you must define the space for you to solve your problem, define the space for you to create the solution, because the space, the environment is space. The space and the environment is as important as the healthy, wealthy state of your solution. Okay? It that defines space. So you empathize, you research space. This is design thinking as it relates to space creation and color. We'll get to color. But let's start from space because space will allow us to get into color. So as you go further, the third one is ideate. In ideate, as it relates to space creation, you will need to connect. You will need to connect all. Connect all. Connect all is like building a network. For example, some of you will become creative directors. Creative directors. If you are the creative director for Coca-Cola, for example, and you are told to put together 5 musicians to come and perform on the anniversary of Coca-Cola. You are told that's the problem. To get 5 as the creative director for Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola says we want to mark our 100 and something anniversary. We want you to bring 5 artists that will perform on our anniversary day. The problem we already identified in the defined stage as getting an artist for anniversary, right? That's the problem. But you don't have a solution yet. You don't know the artist. Which artist should come, which artist shouldn't come. You need, out of all the artists in the world, you need to get 5. That's a big problem. Because some people will even become your enemy if you don't get them on the list of that 5. So what do? You need to connect. When you now connect with the audience will now start to help you to determine the 5. Because you cannot determine the 5. Although you are the creative director for Coca-Cola, the decision as to the artist that will be selected out of all the millions of artists in the world is left to what? The viewers. That is why you were given the problem to bring 5 artists for the anniversary of Coca-Cola. Are you going to say, okay, Davido is my friend, he's going to make it. Whiskey is my friend, he's going to make it. And now you present it to the board of directors. The board of directors say, no, this is not what we want. You will be like, you don't want this, so what do you want? They will ask you, have you done your market research? Have you done our customers' research to know which artist is promoting our product? Which artist is valuable to our product? Can you see what the third pattern now? So it's not your decision. It's the decision of the users, of the customers. Okay? So you must connect with all to get that information. You must connect with people of diverse knowledge. In space. Because that knowledge about the right artist to promote Coca-Cola on their anniversary exists in space. It does not exist on your laptop. So that's in the ideate section. So we'll go to the next one after ideate, which is the prototype. So for prototype, and we're going to use the same example. You also need to connect with space, but this time around, this is where you now generate from the ideate, because you've done your research in space, you've talked to different customers around the world. You did not limit it to just Nigeria, because Coca-Cola is not only Nigeria. You've gone to different spaces, Kenya, South Africa, Europe, America, Asia, to collect information as to the best artists that will be valuable to Coca-Cola's promotion and product and to the customers. When you now take that sample, the first, at least you will give them 20, right? For them to screen down to 10, maybe for you to now do a final 5, right? So the first thing you are presenting to them is a prototype. Can you see what I'm saying? It's not the final result. You are not making the final decision. You are saying, this is what I have. I've narrowed down everything after doing my space research on what Coca-Cola is to the customer and the value we want to bring out on our anniversary using 5 artists from around the world. That will now give you what we now call the prototype, which is not a perfect one. So don't look for perfection here. No perfection here. No perfection. You're not looking for perfection. Number 2, don't worry if you make mistakes. Do not worry of mistakes here. Because what you consider to be mistakes might be what they actually want. So be open-minded in this stage. So the last one, we'll go to test. So the last one is test. So when you now have the authority of Coca-Cola now say, okay, we like this 10, give us 5 out of it. You move to this test stage. In that test stage now, you are about to make a final decision as to the 5 that will appear there. What do you think would be the criteria for the 5? Out of the 10. What do you think would be the criteria now? Huh? You might want to use tools like feedback and do like all those surveys or all those surveys. And you now say, okay, if I'm bringing this particular artist, are you as a user, when you put out the survey, are you as a user able to come to the concert? Or if this person is there, will you not come? And why don't you want to come? You might want to now put out a survey to get insight as to which artist is needed and which artist is not needed. So survey is good, and there are different types of survey to get a feedback from the customer. But now you have 10. You move from empathize to idea to prototype. From prototype now, you've limited it to the test now. In this test now, that survey is giving you are connecting with space now. So it will now bring back and say, this particular person scored 100%. That if he or she is present at the anniversary performing, we will have at least 10 billion viewers. You need that number. But the 10 billion viewers, you also have to value if they are valuable current customers using the product. Because the customer comes first. Okay? So in that case now, in this test, you will eventually be able to make your 5. If you do your space research survey very well, the outcome of that feedback will give you that perfect 5. Okay? So that is as it relates to design thinking as it relates to space creation. Now we're going to move to the next one, and it's design thinking as it relates to colors. Design thinking as it relates to colors for the entrepreneur. Design thinking as it relates to color for the entrepreneur is very important. Because in space, we are always dealing with image. Now that we've learned how to create the space, we'll be dealing with image in space. If you are dealing with image in space, you must know the history of the colors in image. There's no image without colors. And colors have meaning that can impact our emotions, our knowledge, our thinking, our emotions, and even our intelligence. Okay? So with that, we're now going to let's go back home, and we're going to go to my file. And in my file now, we're going to go to USB, and I'm going to get to entrepreneurship. And now I'll go to colors and design mind, and then we'll launch from here. So here we go now, we're on our page. I want you to listen to this very well. Color has history. And the history of color, we cannot talk about it if we don't talk about creative spirituality as it relates to the Bible. There's something called the aesthetic of the creator. It's one of the most unknown and unappreciated of his attributes. This attribute marks the difference between the creator and his creation. Okay? It is linked to eternity, in that it is an eternal being. You need to go and study what the meaning of aesthetic is, because that will allow you to understand color. And because we live in a spiritual ground here, it is good you understand that. So let's move forward now from the aesthetic. The aesthetic is the self-sustainability of the creator, the one and the Creator in whom and around whom all of creation exists. And that gave birth to light. And you can see, God created the heavens and the earth in a statement that expressed the belief that God is the origin of all things. We agree to that, and then He created the light. Let there be light, and there was what? There was light. Light gave us ability to do what? To see color. What's the definition of color? Guys, I want you to pay attention to this. Color is light and the eye's perception of visible light. Color is light and the eye's perception of visible light. Color is light. If there's no light, your perception of color will be very, very limited. And it can be very, very stressful. If we turn off this light, now, some of us will just be squeezing our eyes to see. But you can see the history of light as it relates to the Creator even in the Bible. That is why it's good to learn history as it connects to your everyday activity. It allows you to understand the language. Now, the definition of color anywhere in the world, in the science domain, in the physical domain, in the spiritual domain, anywhere in the world, the meaning of color is light and the highest perception of visible light. That color, from the aseity of the Creator, when He said, let there be light, and there was light, we had opportunity to see beauty. And you can see the colors that allows us to do that, to create as even the Creator's creation. We have yellow, we have green, we have orange, we have red, and we have primary colors and secondary colors. Okay? Now, in primary colors and secondary colors, we also have the meanings of color, which is what we're going to focus in now for you guys to understand. Now, the meaning of colors, guys, I want you to pay attention to this, please. Not talking in class. The meaning of color is very, and please, if you have a digital device, you can record the class, you can do a video, an audio, and you can also write if you want to write. Now, you have to pay attention to this. It's going to come out in your exam. Okay? That's why I keep telling you. Now, colors have meaning. And if you are not sensitive with color, you will offend a lot of people. Color can affect your emotion. Colors can affect your intelligence, it can affect your emotion, it can affect your behavior. Color can also even manipulate your thinking. Colors are very powerful. That is why I took the time to tell you the history of color as it relates to the spiritual dimension called the creative spirituality. Now, the meanings of color we're going to go into. Red, for example, we're talking about passion, confidence, energy, rage, and danger. Okay? And that's why we're going to do our practical after this class on the envelopes with colors to create. We're going to do that today. Now, also, you have to remember this. Purple is known for royalty, wisdom, bravery, spirituality, and uniqueness. Purple is known for that. Blue is known for conservative, stable, calm, reliable, sad, and aloof. Okay? Green. Green is always connected, I'm wearing dark green. It's always connected to space, to nature, to fertility, to peacefulness, abundance, and freshness. Yellow is happy, optimistic, friendly, energy, and cautious. Okay? Orange is creativity, confidence, excitement, happiness. Brown, we have warm, earthly, reliable, stable, approachable. Now we're going to go to the next one, which is black. Black, power, sophistication, mystery, evil, and death. Gray, we have neutrality, balance, calm, sadness, and boredom. White, we have purity, cleanliness, simplicity, and neutrality. Like the first guy was wearing white. That's a color that shows purity, simplicity, and cleanliness. So now let's move on. Now, also, we have other things that are attached to the meanings of color. And you can see companies over here that have used the meaning of colors. You can see like Coca-Cola used red. Okay? And that's because they are looking at passion. They are looking at boldness. They are looking at desire. They are looking at energy. You can look at tangerine. You can even look like liquid gum. the show on television, they use orange. The impulse, the warmth, the clarity, the social nature. You can look at yellow, yellow by Best Buy. Guys, how many of you know Best Buy in the US? How many of you know what Best Buy is in the US? Best Buy is a shop where you go to buy your digital devices, like your smartphone, your computers, and so on. It's like what you have like ShopRite here, but it's meant to buy digital. I live in the US, so I use that a lot. Now, also in America, we have McDonald's. McDonald's is where you go to buy a burger. Okay? So you can see they use yellow, okay? Right here. There's a camera called Nikon. They use yellow. MTN use yellow everywhere you go. So now we also have green. You can see Tropicana Sporty, the one for the application to download music. You can see that there. Blue. Look at Nickdeal. Facebook also use blue, right? Violet. We have people like Cadbury, Yahoo, the Yahoo.com. They use that color. Now, we also have other meanings of colors, and I will go through this quickly. Guys, pay attention to this very well. When it comes to leadership, perseverance, dynamic, and destruction, you usually go towards the red. But also, it can be sensuality, idealism, excitation, and repentance. And you can see that's for purple. You can see here the yellow, you can see the green, and so on. So what I'm going to do is that all of this now, you will need to understand this, because the meaning of color will allow you to design for the purpose. If somebody gives you a problem to solve as a creative director of any company, you must be able to know the color that will represent the solution to that problem. Okay? That is why you need to study color, because color is also part of design thinking. And that is why I said design thinking for the entrepreneur. You must learn to use design thinking to create space. Design thinking to choose the right colors to create your products and your services to solve both a local problem and a global problem. Okay? Now, you can see that, I just want to go here. Look at these images. Can you see the Indian girl? They are light skin. That's from the creator. Using color, you can tell the difference between an African girl and an Indian girl. Even color enables us to differentiate our what? Ethnicity. So color is very, very important. Okay? Color is very, very important. Now, we've come to the end of the theoretical aspects for today's class. We're going to go into the practical now. I have envelopes to do the design, and I have handkerchiefs over here. Now, when you do your practical, if your work is very good, just like we started the other time, we'll be able to translate that work into the handkerchief and keep it as an archive for students that will be coming next after you guys graduate. Also, it will help us to showcase the products we're creating in this class on our EDS day. Now, as I share the envelope, I want you to pair. We are going to work in group because we want you to understand how to work even in the agile team under users experience. We are going to talk about users experience as it relates to the agile team later. Users experience, design thinking, you must learn in the class of creativity and design. And thank God we started with design thinking. We will gradually get into users experience as we move on. So I will share the envelope, and then the colors are there, and the assignment, the practical is this. On that envelope, you will work with one or two people to create the meaning of a color to a particular problem. You will be the one to use the color to tell us what the problem is, and use the color to give us like a prototype, the solution to the problem. It could be in words, it could be in artistic expression. Am I making sense, or should I repeat myself? Okay, for example, if we say, look at this, I want you to take a look at this. Look at this. This is colors, right? So in the class of creativity and design, The question is, I want you to use color to tell us the meaning of colors. You can see what this person did here. Can you see the way they did their own? They did different colors and they put the names there. And as they put the name, they are able to put some sort of artistic expression that is simple, but also able to add information there. Look at what this person said here. Look at this one. Can you see the way they did it? But when you look at this, you will be able to know that this person just used one word, colorful, right? To describe all the colors. But they were able to use that. Look at what this person did. Can you see what they did? Creatively, you must be able to use color to allow us to see beauty on that envelope. You must be able to use color, even if you had words, to allow us to know the meaning of color. So you can say, for example, if you are designing, look at this one. Look at this one. This person is able to use black and this type of design to say color and design. That means you use color for design. The problem here is, what do you use color for? The solution is this. Guys, listen to this. The problem is, what do you use color for? The solution by this person is we use color to design. And look at the way he did it. He did not answer it like he's answering a theoretical question. He used creativity to just do this simple thing. And look at the way he does it. Color and design. You know already we use color for design. It's a creative way of solving a problem. So I'm going to share the envelope. I'm going to stop the camera and we'll start our practical. Okay? Thank you very much.